Hello and welcome to our morning edition of Arirang News. We begin with these stories making the headlines at this hour. As the U.S. Supreme Court weighs whether President Donald Trump's sweeping tariffs were legal, the U.S. leader says it will be devastating if the court rules against his administration, adding that he will come up with a Game 2 plan if that happens. Following Trump's recent approval for South Korea to build a nuclear-powered submarine in Philadelphia, South Korean officials are now questioning its feasibility. Seoul's national security advisor says the government is instead pushing to build one at home, noting that overseas construction will be unrealistic due to high cost and logistical hurdles. One worker has been confirmed dead after a boiler tower collapsed at a power plant in Ulsan yesterday. Rescue teams are continuing their search for others still buried. We begin this morning with a high-stakes case at the U.S. Supreme Court that's deciding on the legality of President Donald Trump's sweeping tariffs. The U.S. leader says it will be devastating if the court rules against his administration and says he would consider alternatives. Our Lee Seung-jae starts us off.
The U.S. Supreme Court is weighing the legality of U.S. President Donald Trump's sweeping tariffs, a case that could have major consequences for both the U.S. economy and global trade. During a hearing on Wednesday, both conservative and liberal justices raised doubts about whether a 1977 emergency powers law gave Trump the authority to impose broader tariffs or whether he overstepped Congress's powers. The case is seen as a key test of presidential authority in trade policy. In response, President Trump said Thursday he will consider alternatives if the court rules against his administration.
We thought we did very well yesterday. We hope that we did. I think it would be devastating for our country, but I also think that we'll have to develop a Game 2 plan. We'll see what happens. Most people tell me we did very well.
He added that any alternative approach would likely take longer to implement. If the court finds Trump's tariffs unlawful, the government may have to refund some of the duties collected from businesses. U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer said in an interview with Fox News on Thursday that specific plaintiffs could receive refunds and that the government would need to work with the courts to determine repayment schedules. Greer estimated that the total amount at stake exceeds $100 billion and could approach $200 billion, though no exact figure has been confirmed. The ruling, expected in the coming months, will not only shape the scope of presidential powers, but could also affect U.S. trade relations around the world. Lee Seung-jae, Arirang News.
South Korea's national security advisor Ri Sung-rak says the Korean government is pushing to build nuclear-powered submarines at home, calling overseas construction unrealistic due to high costs and logistical hurdles. Speaking during a National Assembly audit on Thursday, we dismissed options such as investing in U.S. shipyard facilities or commissioning General Dynamics, an American firm, to build the vessels. He stressed that Korea is seeking to build a more affordable model tailored to its operational needs, emphasizing strong cost-effectiveness. His comments come after U.S. President Donald Trump said on social media last week that he had given Seoul approval to develop a nuclear-powered submarine and said it'll be built at a shipyard in Philadelphia. Meanwhile, over in North Korea, high-ranking political and military officials from the regime and Russia have met in Pyongyang for talks. According to North Korea's state-run Korean Central News Agency, representatives from the Korean People's Army General Political Bureau and Russia's main military political directorate held talks in the North Korean capital on Wednesday. The meeting was attended by Park Young-il, Vice Director of the General Political Bureau of the Korean People's Army, and Russian Deputy Defense Minister Viktor Gromykin. Discussions focused on strengthening cooperation and exchanges between the two nations' military and political institutions, in line with the deepening strategic partnership between Pyongyang and Moscow. Meanwhile, one worker is confirmed to have died on Friday after a boiler tower collapsed at an Ulsan power plant the day before. Rescuers are continuing their search for others still apparently buried at the site. We connect with our Buniran for more. Hyeran, what's the latest on the rescue efforts?
Good morning, Undi. Earlier today, one worker was already confirmed dead and another presumed to be dead. And just now, rescue authorities have announced that they have found 3 more workers at the site of the accident and that they are also presumed to be dead. The casualties come after a 60-meter boiler tower at Korea East-West Power's Ulsan thermal power plant came crashing down during demolition work on Thursday afternoon, trapping 9 workers on site. 2 were rescued early on, but 1 worker found trapped between the structure and the ground about an hour after the collapse went into cardiac arrest during the rescue attempt and was pronounced dead at 4:53 a.m. Friday. Progress at the collapse site has slowed to a near standstill. The entry route is blocked by a dense wall of twisted rebar and steel, forcing crews to dig through more than 30 meters of debris just to reach the collapse point. After the only survivor who had been showing signs of life was pronounced dead, rescue teams temporarily withdrew due to the heightened risk of a secondary collapse. Firefighters have been removing debris by hand and entering through narrow gaps, but heavy machinery cannot be used safely. Nearby boiler towers, units 4 and 6, are also unstable, prompting authorities to delay planned stabilization work.
Because 5 workers are still unaccounted for, it's extremely difficult at this stage to bring in a crane, hook it up right away, and start cutting. Structural rescue engineers are on site now, holding continuous meetings to figure out the next steps.
The National Fire Agency has issued a nationwide mobilization order, deploying a 700-ton crane, rescue dogs and drones, while President Ipdong has instructed officials to use all available personnel and equipment to save lives. That's all I have for now, so back to you, Eunji.
All right, Hyeran, thank you for the wrap-up. Do keep us updated. And amid global efforts to curb greenhouse gas emissions, South Korea has revealed its potential goals. With 2 final options on the table amid some controversy surrounding them, the government plans to make its final decision next week. Our Park Gun-woo tells us more.
South Korea is just a few steps away from finalizing its 2035 greenhouse gas reduction target. That comes after the government on Thursday unveiled the 2 final options for its nationally determined contributions, narrowed down from 4 after extensive discussions. The choices are to cut emissions by either 50 to 60% or 53 to 60% compared to 2018. If reduced by at least 50%, the maximum level of total emissions in 2035 would be around 371 million tons, or 349 million tons if reduced by 53%. Considering last year's estimated emissions of nearly 700 million, there's still a long journey ahead within the next decade. The final target will be confirmed next week after review by the Presidential Commission on Carbon Neutrality and Green Growth and the Cabinet, and then submitted to the UN the following week, in line with the 2015 Paris Agreement that requires updated targets every 5 years. But disputes between industries and civic groups are expected to continue. Industry officials had pushed for a 48% cut, one of the 4 initial options previously, calling even that goal difficult to meet, while civic groups urged for reductions of up to 65%. As the Environment Ministry said Thursday that the government tried to balance the 2 sides, it's now up to the government's decision on how far Korea can go in protecting both the planet and its industries. Park Gun-woo, Arirang News.
Shifting gears, curtains have gone down on this year's APEC Forum in Gyeongju, but the historic city is maintaining its efforts to engage foreign visitors to the beauty of Korea's heritage. Our Cha Yun-kyung has a glimpse.
This is Ohan House, an exhibition space located in the K-Business Square at the Gyeongju Expo Grand Park. Here, visitors can experience 5 elements of traditional Korean culture: Hansik, or Korean cuisine; Hangul, the Korean alphabet; Hanji, traditional paper; Hanbok, clothing; and Hanok, a traditional house. foreign visitors can use AI to draw Korean traditional paintings or practice writing their English names in Hangul. Although Korean culture may feel unfamiliar to them, it is perceived as something as innovative and refreshing as cutting-edge technology.
Yeah, it gave us an idea that how Korea has, or what are the different 5 pillars of the Korean culture. So very nice, very happy to be here.
They can practice traditional calligraphy and enjoy pansori, or Korean folk music performances. These unique Korean cultural experiences provided a refreshing break from their hectic schedules and allowed them to relax. Captivated by the charm of Korean traditions, foreign visitors went to Gyeongju's Gyochun Hanok village. There, they explored tiled roof houses lined with stone walls, experiencing the essence of Korean heritage.
It's very traditional, but also incredibly beautiful. I think for me, I really enjoyed the food. Is amazing and very varied. Also, I think the people here are very friendly and welcoming.
The Ohan House will reopen from November 10th until the 23rd after a revision, welcoming visitors every day from 9 a.m. until 6 p.m. 차윤경, Arirang News.
Good morning. I'm Chu Ji-hyun, and this is The World Now. We start in Southeast Asia, where after causing death and destruction in the Philippines, Typhoon Kalmaegi has now struck Vietnam. Asia's most powerful storm of the year made landfall in Vietnam on Thursday evening, bringing winds close to 150 kilometers per hour and heavy rain across the central part of the country, which has already seen extensive flooding this month. Authorities have put 260,000 soldiers on standby, and 6 airports are now closed. Officials warn the storm could cause severe flooding and landslides as it moves inland. According to the disaster database, this typhoon is so far the world's deadliest of 2025, killing at least 114 in the Philippines, where it flooded entire towns. In the United States, Tesla shareholders have approved a record-breaking pay package for CEO Elon Musk, worth nearly $1 trillion, the largest in corporate history. 75% of Tesla shareholders voted in favor of the deal at Thursday's annual meeting. The plan ties Musk's compensation to steep performance targets, including lifting Tesla's market value from the current $1.4 trillion to $8.5 trillion and deploying 1 million self-driving robotaxis. Supporters say Tesla can't afford to lose him, while critics call the scale of the deal unprecedented and risky. Musk celebrated on stage to loud applause, calling it, quote, a whole new book for Tesla's future. Tesla shares are up more than 60% in the past 6 months. As analysts say, Musk remains the company's biggest asset. In the United States, former U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi has announced she will not seek re-election, ending nearly 4 decades in Congress. Pelosi, aged 85, made the announcement on Thursday in a video message to her San Francisco constituents, calling her career, quote, the honor of a lifetime. Elected in 1987, she became the first and only woman to serve as Speaker of the U.S. House, leading Democrats through historic votes on health care, impeachments, and pandemic relief. Her decision follows a major political victory in California this week, where a redistricting measure she backed won by a wide margin. While former President Biden praised Pelosi as, quote, the best speaker in American history, President Trump called her, quote, evil and said he's glad Pelosi is retiring. Nancy Pelosi's final term will end next year. A new United Nations report warns this year is set to be one of the hottest ever recorded, pushing the planet deeper into climate crisis. The World Meteorological Organization said Thursday that 2023, 2024, and 2025 will rank as the hottest years in 176 years of records. Global temperatures so far are 1.42 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels, with greenhouse gases at record highs. UN Chief Antonio Guterres called the failure to limit warming to 1.5 degrees, quote, a moral failure, warning of irreversible damage unless urgent action is taken.
Today marks Ipdong, the beginning of winter on the seasonal calendar, but we'll continue to see mild autumn weather with temperatures staying above seasonal norms. Meanwhile, air quality will be bad across western regions, including in the capital area again from late this afternoon through tomorrow. So make sure to wear a mask outdoors and stay hydrated to stay well. Along the East Coast, skies will be mostly cloudy with 5 to 30 millimeters of rain expected from late this afternoon into tomorrow in the east of Gangwon-do province. And this afternoon, Seoul will be getting up to 20 degrees Celsius. Daegu, Gwangju both rising to 21 degrees Celsius. And over the weekend, nationwide rain is expected, which will bring a sharp drop in temperatures early next week, but it will gradually warm up in a pattern that are similar to this week. So for the college entrance exam day next Thursday, the weather looks mostly clear with no severe cold expected.
That's all we have for this morning. Arirang News will be back at noon Korea time. Thanks for watching.